So if you're like me and you watched Naruto in the mid-2000s, odds are that whenever you were watching it and the episode when Jiraiya appeared showed up, they went all the way back to the first episode, and therefore we only had the perspective of those first 50 or so episodes. We only knew the Land of Waves arc and half of the Chunin Exams essentially. So for those of you who have the chance to watch everything now in a month, that's pretty amazing. But it also may skew my perspective of some characters because I just watched them much more than other people back then. One of those characters is Gaara. For a lot of people, Gaara is this good guy that became the Kazekage, and he was bad once, but you know, Naruto convinced him that being good is a good thing, so Gaara just became a good guy, and it was an amazing fight, a satisfying arc, and then Gaara showing up to save Rock Lee is also very good. But the thing is, up until I found out I could watch Naruto online through other means, the only Gaara I knew was that psychopath maniac. And let me tell you one thing, Gaara was absolutely terrifying. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel and like this video to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, and also if you like Gaara and my content. I know many people love Gaara, I know many people like that he is the Kazekage and find his powers amazing, but I have to say, Gaara's best version was his evil version. I'm sorry to tell you that. I may be biased because I watched those episodes non-stop throughout my childhood because that was the only Naruto content I could get, but let me try to tell you why that was the best version of Gaara. So when he shows up, he is this menacing, quiet character that you don't really know what's going on behind his mind, and Sasuke thinks from the get-go that this guy is different. He just got that feeling that Gaara wasn't like the other Genin. And then when we get to the Forest of Death, and then those poor rain ninjas encounter the Sand siblings, Gaara stomps them in one of the most shocking scenes in Naruto. He essentially squishes that guy, turning him into goo. The scene is a bit censored, not a bit, very heavily censored in the anime because the blood is all dark and it's not red, because otherwise, you know, you couldn't show that to kids. That would be crazy. And I think the scene may be even cut in some versions. I'm not sure, I don't know, but I know that scene was pretty terrifying. Of course, Gaara fights Rock Lee, and we all know how that goes. The battle is absolutely amazing, and Rock Lee loses to this guy. Gaara is established as a force of nature. We got that feeling he is just this barrel of black powder that's just about to explode, but that's only underneath the surface because he mostly kept his expression pretty tamed. When things are about to get real, you get the fish-eye lens. And boy oh boy, whenever Gaara is getting the fish-eye lens, you better run because he's going to kill you. Gaara was terrifying. You never knew when he was going to snap and destroy you. I mean, the scene when he went to the hospital and tried to finish Rock Lee off was one of the most scary things I watched. I mean, sure, Orochimaru was also very scary back then, but Gaara, I think he was different. Because sure, Orochimaru was very scary, but Orochimaru didn't really kill people. The only person he killed was Sarutobi, but Gaara, he was actually going out of his way to kill people because he liked it. That's absolutely terrifying and chilling. Another one of those terrifying scenes was when those two fodder ninjas were hired by one of those mafia bosses that bet in Sasuke's favor in the Chunin Exams, and then they went to Gaara to rough him up and tell him to throw the fight, and Naruto and Shikamaru witnessed that, and they were very close to being murdered as well. Naruto and Shikamaru had the absolute certainty that if they had climbed that flight of stairs a little quicker, they would have been done, and that's pretty scary. When your protagonist is terrified for his life, you know there's something very dark going on. That little scene of Gaara stomping those Chunins that went to rough him up is very effective in making Gaara seem a force of nature and absolutely terrifying as he's about to fight Sasuke, and then he goes on to fight Naruto as well. you get really tense before those battles because you're like, okay, there's no way they're gonna beat this guy. He's absolutely crazy and extremely powerful. Seriously, back then when I didn't know more about Naruto and I only watched Naruto up until Jiraiya showed up, I really thought Gaara was the strongest ninja ever because that's really what they implied during the series, that this guy is absolutely unstoppable and no one can touch him. Then he goes to the forest, he fights Sasuke, and then his transformation into that half Shukaku, half Gaara, it's terrifying. It's much more terrifying than the full-tailed beast form because he looks more unnerving when he is partially transformed and his face is half monster, half Gaara. It just makes you feel so unsettled. Of course, he is redeemed and then he becomes a good guy, which I don't mind. I think it's a great arc. But the thing is, when he becomes a good guy, I know a lot of people love Gaara and I don't dislike the character after he becomes good. I think he gets a little bland, to be honest with you. I like the development he gets in the early stages of the war when he finds out why his protection works every time, because his mom actually wanted to protect him his entire life, and that's essentially her will protecting Gaara. But Gaara's personality after he becomes good is a little bland, really. He's very stoic, and that's about it. You know, he doesn't really show a lot of emotion, which is not a bad thing, but I think he could have been a more interesting character. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, maybe I'm just too attached to the old Evil Gaara. You know, I kinda liked the Evil Gaara better. Every time he was on screen, on panel essentially, you knew something was gonna go bad, and that made you really tense whenever you were watching the series. And obviously Rock Lee versus Gaara speaks by itself. You don't really have to praise that fight because everyone knows it's amazing. And sure, many people say that it's amazing because Rock Lee, and they are not wrong, but if Rock Lee wasn't fighting Gaara in that battle, there was no way it was going to be as good. Gaara was the perfect foil to Rock Lee in that fight. First, because of the theme about hard work versus natural talent, which was that fight's main theme, and also because the abilities matched very well. Gaara was the perfect match philosophically and physically to Rock Lee. And if Gaara wasn't absolutely terrifying, if you weren't afraid that Rock Lee was going to get exploded by the sand coffin at any moment, the fight wouldn't be as tense and as memorable for sure. So Gaara definitely deserves some credit, not only Rock Lee. So for those of you who were able to watch Naruto without that interruption, without going back to the first episode every time, I would like to know, what do you think about Gaara? When you picture Gaara, do you think of him being the Kazekage, that stoic, good man, or do you think of him being this absolutely menacing villain that's terrifying whenever he shows up on screen? Because I think those two viewers, those two people, will have a different view of Gaara whenever they think about him. Some people may even forget that Gaara was once evil because he is good for like 80% of the series, if not more. So let me know in the comments. Also, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already, and like this video as well. Thank you for watching.